The amazing digital circus is a great representation of YouTube. And what better way to pay tribute to the website by having a fan-favorite character revealed to be one of the most infamous figures in YouTube's golden era. That's right, Jax's Leafy is here. I told you, look at him, it's 2016 again, we're back, baby.
It's me, Jax, even though I don't look like Jax. And yeah, you should kill yourself. Okay.
Okay, I realize not everybody knows what the Amazing Digital Circus is, alright? It's a web series. They had 8 episodes online for free. Essentially, it's a toy ad, but it's a really good toy ad because all the episodes really make you care about the characters and want to buy a plush version of them and stick them in your house so they can watch you do unspeakable things in front of your computer, okay? That's what the show's about. That's the concept of the show, and I really like the marketing because they give you 8 episodes for free, and they were so good, people are willing to go out of the house, you know, put on some deodorant, hopefully, and go to a cinema and watch it on the big screen, okay? That's how good the show was. And they didn't even have to spend that much on marketing because they only had a couple of countries play it. And then they made the fans do the marketing for them. They made the fans like knock on cinema's doors and say, please, please air this movie. I don't want to get spoiled. That's what they did, and it worked. It is the best marketing since Sonic, to be honest. You know, when they had the ugly Sonic, and then everyone was bitching, and then they say, hey, we got a new, nicer Sonic for you. I was like, oh, wow. Not so bad. It was like a pretty mid movie, but because of that goodwill, I think people really loved it. Okay, on a serious note, Tadc, the last act, it had me fooled. You know, from the trailer, I really thought it was going to be Jax going sicko mode on everyone. Like this shit I saw yesterday. It's so bad, but I love it. Look, check it out, check it out.
Congratulations, all of my friends.
This shit got me crying. Oh my god. Yeah, but I really thought it was gonna be like this, you know? A lot of people are complaining that this is a Jax movie. I disagree. I think the movie was pretty much focused on 2 characters, not just Jax. You know what I call it? I call it the Tumblr Sexy Man movie. I mean, you gotta hand it to them, they know their audience. And I'm glad that half the movie was really about my favorite Tumblr Sexy Man, Kane. That's right. If you saw my previous video, you'll know he's back, baby! He made it! He didn't die! Which kind of makes episode 8 less touching, I guess, because, you know, the crux of it was that he died, and it was really sad. But he's back, so I'm happy again. The moment I saw him pop up on screen, I was screaming, dude! I was like, my man! I was Jason Momoing that shit. You know, a lot of people were screaming. A lot of people love Kane. He's great, you know? Yeah, he's done some pretty bad things, but you get why. He's very relatable. Like Kane and Homelander, alright? They went through similar arcs, you know? They had a bit of a crash out, they had a bit of a god complex, but they did some horrible things, but you kind of understand why. You know, I got these 2 reels I watch every day. They wreck me emotionally. They got Sydney Gish's imposter syndrome going on over it. And you really feel for him.
What's a human being gotta be like? What's a way to just be competent?
Yeah, there's a lot of parts in this movie that really hit home. You know, I met this guy outside the cinema, and he was gonna watch it with his young daughters. And I told him straight up, you're gonna take your kids to see that? It gets pretty heavy, man. I know you're gonna probably have to talk to her afterwards, you know, just a heads up. It's rough out there, buddy. Yeah, but even visually, it was beautiful. I really like what they did with Kane's story. Because in episode 8, you had that little dot thing going on. They kind of do that again in episode 9. They did this graphic parallel between Kane's backstory and the current story, and they used the same dots. Right? And it really reminded me of this short film by Chuck Jones. It's called The Dot and the Line. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's really good. I don't know if they meant to reference that, but I think they do. And if they did, I thought it's pretty cool. It really appealed to the animation geek inside of me.
Let me out! Let me out!
There's probably some deep metaphor as to why they chose to stylistically depict it that way. These 3D graphics we're seeing is probably not what's really going on. I guess maybe there's no way to actually visually depict what's going on. In all likelihood, this is probably just electrical signals and beeps. At the very most, you get a light flash, but yeah, that's what makes it art, you know? You depict a character as a little red dot. You depict the same character as a denture man with a ringmaster outfit on. You know, that's what makes it art. You know, choosing to show it this way. Personification. Stylization. You know, when he starts running instead of flying. You know, when the little red dot grows arms and legs. When he tries different solutions to a problem. When the first attempts don't work. That's becoming human. Right? That's the visual metaphor they're using. Somebody with a more profound vocabulary can break it down better than me, but I was just in awe, you know? You didn't even need any words. You could go beyond the language barrier. It's visual storytelling. It's beautiful. Another L for the blind. I'm sorry, guys. You guys missed out. And it helps that you got great music, too. Another L for the deaf. Sorry. Everyone's catching these strays. Now, there's a scene where Kane is asking for forgiveness with the group, and that really hit hard too. You know, he fucked up. He knows he fucked up. He knows what he did was wrong. You know, he knows he fucked up so bad that they wanted to kill his ass. They want to put his ass in the ground, man. He could easily go off and just create a whole new world where he could live with a bunch of adoring NPCs who just do anything he'd want. But he's choosing to go back to try to appeal to the quote-unquote humans. I'll get into that later, you know. He removes his power, you know, to what degree, I don't know. But it's implied that he can't do everything anymore. So I don't know if he can still fly. Sometimes he flies, sometimes he doesn't. You know, he can't just create stuff willy-nilly, I guess. We don't really get the explanation, but we get the idea, which is fine. You know, I don't want to be sitting there for 4 hours, okay? We don't need to get into the mechanics. I'm fine with that. Alright, speaking of which, you know, I said humans with quote-unquote. All the cast was being super AI racist to him, right? He's an AI. We don't need to treat him like a human being. We don't need to be nice to him. Even Ragatha, you know, the nice one, yeah, she doesn't need to thank him, right? He just saves you from chronic pain. Do you even thank him? Huh? You never thanked him, Ragatha. I don't remember Gangle thanking him either when he fixed her mask, right? Did Kane go overboard? Yes, alright? Was he trying to keep you alive? Also yes. Alright, you know what happens to a mind when you're not stimulated? Eventually, you just stop thinking. And when the only thing that makes you you is your mind, if you stop thinking, you're dead, buddy. Alright? He wasn't keeping them trapped. He was keeping them alive. I mean, Ragatha mentioned this in episode 1, alright? If you don't go on adventures, you just sit and stew in your own thoughts, and you go fucking crazy. We all knew what the deal was, okay? Look what happened in episode 7, right? When he threw a freaking beach party and let them do whatever they wanted. Jax nearly abstracted, okay? That's what happens when he lets you to your own devices. So I don't know what's gonna happen after this show in that universe, because he's letting them have free reign, right? All the worlds are open, they can do whatever they want. I don't know what's gonna happen. It might be fun for a while, but eventually, without struggle, you're gonna have a Mouse Utopia situation. It's not gonna be pretty. Alright? You think King of Crazy now? Ooh boy. You're gonna get a lot crazier. I don't know, I'm thinking too much into this. But I'm glad that they ended it on that montage, and it looked like they copied some ideas from fan art, which is great, because that's what people wanted to happen, right? Because I'm very sure I saw that image of Kane and Gangle drawing together. I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere. Somebody was drawing that. I thought that was sweet. You know, they both like to draw. You know, a lot of these characters, they have similar interests, so they can get along doing that. Alright, I've been talking about Kane too much. Now let's talk about everybody's favorite edgy Latino twink, Jax.
I'm your Jax toy, pretty little fanboy.
Alright, first off, let's talk about the elephant in the room, alright? Is he or is he not trans? I'm not against the idea, right? They never explicitly said it, but it wouldn't be out of place, you know? They dropped hints, you know? He's talking about eggs and shit. It's like, yeah, I could see that, you know? I like that they kept it vague, so you can choose to interpret that however you want. You know, we don't know if he's trans, but even if he is, we don't know which way, right? It seems like a lot of people are thinking he's a boy to girl, but I thought he was FTM, man. That's why he overcompensates so much. You know? He's always talking about, like, the peak male physique. You know, he's very toxically masculine, or at least some idea of what masculinity is, right? I honestly don't get why people think he's MTF, right? Kane wouldn't do that to him, right? Kane wouldn't put him in a boy body if he wanted to be a girl, right? And that's why he hates the maid outfit so much, because it's girly. He doesn't want to be a girl. He only wore it to troll, like Bugs Bunny. You know? That's why he instinctually covered his chest when he got stripped. You know, if my skin got ripped off, the first thing I'm covering is my face or my balls, but he went for the chest. I guess he didn't strip off his balls, so I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I just read that wrong. Who knows, right? You know, either way, that makes Kinger the only guy there, you know? Which is a nice surprise. Because I would think guys would be more dumb and walk into an abandoned house and put on some old headset. You know, I would think only guys would be that dumb. I watched 5 movies of Jackass. Like 17 seasons. I don't know. I was raised on Jackass. You know, me and my friends, we got our hands on a bug zapper. You know the first thing we did? That's right, we took turns zapping each other. That's what guys do. I ain't see women do that shit. I'm being anecdotal. Yeah, that's right. Alright. I'm glad Kane joined the group at the end. You know, you got some nice father-son moments with him and Kinger. You know, it's something I wish Soldier Boy and Homelander would have had. A lot of people are complaining that this is a Jax episode, and I do agree, and I think it needed to be. I think it's not specifically about Jax because he's a very fun character to look at and draw. I think it's just basically to show you that, yeah, even in this digital world, death can still be a thing, you know? It's not too different than in real life. You know, it's sad. People go through it. They're not ready. They don't want it to happen, but it does. And it happens to people you don't expect it to. And you gotta deal with it. Now, I really thought when they were playing Stevie Wonder, they were gonna power a friendship their way out of it and pull him out of the abstraction. I didn't even cry because I didn't realize that was a in memoriam kind of scene. We're never gonna see this guy again. I thought it was a scene where, everything's gonna be fine, we're all gonna hold hands, and it's all gonna work out. I thought that's what that scene was. And then they played the montage, and it's like, this is kind of weird. Why are you playing a montage? Like, oh. But even then, I thought like, they probably fixed things at the last minute. Right? They did not. He dead. I mean, is he dead? I don't know. I really thought they were gonna do the same for Ribbit and Kaufmo and Queenie and the rest, but everyone was gonna live happily ever after. But nope. They ain't coming back. Not for this movie anyway. Like, I don't like that he died. He's a pretty fun character to watch, but for the story's sake, I think somebody had to. You know, we've had dead characters on this show, and I say dead in quote unquote, but you don't really know Kaufmo or Ribbit or even Queenie, right? Everybody loves Queenie. You don't really know her. She had like one scene and then she went from black to black. I'm sorry, that was a low blow. Right? She had like one scene and then she went like completely black. You never go full black. Whoopsie! Shouldn't say that. They're fan favorites, but you don't know them as ever being like alive in the show. They were already dead when the show started. So it really hits you, and you really feel it when somebody you've seen from episode 1 leaves. You know, I felt that in episode 8 when Kane died. It hurt me even more because he was always the happy one. He's always excited about each and every new day, and he's trying to do his best and, you know, trying to do the best job he can and trying to keep it together. You see him slipping, and then when he finally dies, it's heartbreaking. You know, because you've seen him mentally deteriorate. He had that epic crash out. And then he died just so unceremoniously. There was no sound effect. There was no, like, big CGI evaporation. It was just a beep, He's gone. Right? It was just a very simple pause your camera and keep recording camera trick. It was heartbreaking. And they kind of did something similar here. They used a jump cut. Jax walks away for the last time, and the next time you see him, he's this huge big black blob with 1,000 eyes. Half the cast couldn't even process it. I couldn't. They dangled hope in our face that they can bring him back, but they don't. You know, he dead. He dead. Is he dead? I don't know. I like that they kept the concept of extraction vague. You know, are they dead? Are they in a coma? Are they brain dead? Do they have Alzheimer's? Are they, like, mentally ill? Are they just a floating mass of organs that kind of remind you of your loved ones? I don't know. But the point is, I guess you do take time to honor and remember them. And, yeah, the point is you don't forget to live life with those who are still around, right? Even if they've done you wrong, if you find it in your heart to forgive each other, everything's gonna be okay. Well, these people are stuck in, like, a world where there's only 6 people, so you gotta get along, alright? If you're not gonna get along, you're gonna be the next one to go, alright? Is there hope that they might abstract someday? Yeah, that's a very real possibility. And we don't know who. That's life. It's messy. People die, you're not prepared for it. You don't think it's real, you think it's just a bad dream you'll wake up from, but that's not the case. Are you ever going to see your loved ones again after they die? I don't know. I hope so. But you really don't know. And yeah, it's sad, but it's all the more reason to cherish them while they're still here. So the best thing you can do is make people feel loved and appreciated while they're here. So aside from Kane and Jax, who got a lot of airtime in these final episodes as a whole, one character that really stood out to me is Zubul. You know, I hated this bitch. Like episode 1, she came out, she had a cool design, I liked the 90s aesthetic. It was really cool, I really liked the way she looked, her voice was hot. And then the thing she said just pissed me off, like she was mean to everyone.
If anyone needs me, then f*** off.
Hi, Zubul.
Help me, you idiots!
Kinda rude, Zubul. Now I don't wanna help you.
Right, she was kinda nice to Pomni. She's nice to Gangle because she wants to bang her. But she's like mean to everyone. She's mean to Kinger, dude.
Gotcha! Oh.
Kinger, you mother...
What the fuck did Kinger was trying to help? Kinger, my boy. Kinger, an old crazy man. Why you bullying him? Kinger, Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden. He says funny things. Why you hating on Kinger, man? Yeah, so I hated her at the start. And, I think even though she never really got a full episode dedicated to her, I think her development was more spread out over the course of several episodes instead of all at once. I'm not talking about that therapy episode. That was like a half episode, right? Ooh, boo-hoo, I don't like my body. Nobody does! Okay? They made a point of it in this movie. Jax is looking at himself as like, you look ridiculous. You gonna cry? Looking like this? Yeah, nobody likes their bodies, alright? Pomni's like touching her face like, what the fuck is this fucking 4chan goon fantasy? Right? I'm sure Kinger feels weird not having a nose and a mouth and arms. Right? Ragatha's blind in one eye. Her depth perception is fucked. That's why she's always falling over. Yeah, nobody likes their bodies. Deal with it. Everyone's freaked out by him. Stop being a baby. But I really changed my opinion on her. In the last few episodes, she was starting to be a little bit more nice in general, not just to the person she wants to bang.
It probably couldn't hurt to at least give him a warning, though. I never should have antagonized him so much. I'm sorry.
Like when Jax walked away in episode 8, and even though she was giving him shit before, which she had every right to, right? That's another thing. She had every right to be mad in that scenario, so I wasn't mad at her for being mad then. But she was the one who said, like, hey, Jax, don't fucking kill yourself, alright? I hate you, but I love you, alright? You my boy. You get on my nerves, but you my boy, Jax. And when Kane came back with his balls in his hand saying, I'm sorry, guys, she was like one of the first ones to forgive him.
It's good to have you back.
Right? There's a cute little scene of her making him a drink. That's beautiful. I like Zubul now, alright? You're good in my books again. That was a surprise to me too, because I think I just read things wrong. My media literacy is kind of retarded. Because I always thought Gooseork's self-insert was Zubul, right? You got the triangle head, you got the purplish pink color scheme, you got the dreary voice, right? Visually, and also like some sort of non-binary, non-conforming gender. There we go, that's the word we're looking for. It's not gonna get me canceled, right? You know, in addition to that, she's an artist, she wants to leave a mark on the world. I really thought that was spot on. Or if it's not Zubul, I would think the self-insert is Palm, because, you know, girl protagonist, oh, I'm quirky, manic pixie, I don't know, yeah. But, when Gooseork said that her self-insert is Jax, it was like, oh, you know what, I like that. Because it means the self-insert isn't just one character. There's attributes in Goose that's imbued in multiple characters, you know? She's not a one-trick pony, she's not like, oh, okay, this character looks like me, therefore, this character is me. Okay? I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, and visually, I look most like Avdol. I don't resonate with him though. If I made that part, I'd say my self-insert is Polnareff. You know, he's just a guy, he's just a silly guy trying to make everyone happy. And he likes the ladies! That's me, alright? Maybe I'm Avdol after he got shot and then he loosened up a bit. Yeah, they say you gotta write what you know, but that doesn't mean it's gotta be a one-to-one copy. And the fact that the characters are all distinct, you know? Not like The Boys, where everyone curses and talks about dicks and titties all the time. Right? Every character seems like their own thing. Zubul's the one who curses, right? Kinger's the nice, crazy guy, but sometimes he has moments of lucidity when he's in the dark, cause he likes black! Now, I would say, as a whole, this was a well-written show, in addition to the beautiful animation, alright? When I saw the pilot, I was like, I saw the thumbnail, I saw clips 2 years ago, but I didn't want to watch it because it felt like something you really had to sit down and pay attention to. And God knows my short attention span is not gonna put up with that shit, alright? I gotta get my food ready, I gotta set up the big screen to watch it in the way that it deserves to be watched. And I wasn't prepared to do that for 2 years, alright? I was just fucking doom scrolling. So I missed out on this when it came out. But the good part is I got to binge everything at once. And I got to see the final 2 episodes on the big screen. And they are completely justified as being on the big screen, okay? I wish all the episodes were on the big screen. But yeah, it's not how it works. Was it a satisfying ending? I thought so. Are there unanswered questions? Sure, of course. Who knows what's gonna happen after this? Right? What if somebody turns off the computer? What if the abandoned building's electricity gets shut off? Right?
What if the bomb drops on your head right now?
What if?
The moral of the story is just live your life like every day is your last. Right? Make the most of it. Be kind to people. I'm gonna go. Bye.
La magia del circo ya va a empezar. La chola chabuca te divertirá. La chola chabuca te hará soñar en nuestro mundo de fantasía.
Hey, here comes that frog. All right.